It has been quite some time since I have reviewed a Maranez product, but here we have the Maranez Tao, one of the newest watches from Maranez. This is a turtle, a Seiko Turtle, and an Omega homage. But let's go ahead and get into it. I'll talk all about some of the unique features and traits and kind of how this is not a direct homage but kind of inspired by a few pieces. So yes, this is definitely inspired by the Seiko Turtle, the Seiko 6309, although this is definitely a much smaller case than the Prospex Turtles that are out there now. And this one also has a bezel, and when I spoke to Maranez, the bezel is inspired by Omega, inspired by Aquadive, and of course you have a very different bezel insert and dial compared to any of those watches. So it is a vintage inspired piece, and it is definitely inspired by other, famous style of watches, but it is not a direct homage to anything, and that's kind of what they were going for, of course. And what's unique, maybe I shouldn't say unique, but what's interesting to me specifically is that this is the second piece in a very, very short amount of time that has a sandwich dial and a Jubilee style bracelet. If you haven't caught my last review, the Mark & Sons GMT Batman, that also had a sandwich dial and that also had a Jubilee style bracelet. Now both are very, very different watches, but I will say from being able to look at both of these watches side by side, and I spoke about in that video that I thought it was interesting that Mark & Sons did the sandwich dial just because you didn't see that on that style of watch very often, or at all really. I think it still would have worked better with applied markers. This one here, I really like not only the shape of the markers, but just the way the outline is and the way they did the sandwich dial on this one. I also think it fits this watch better. Now, yes, both have a Jubilee style bracelet, and this has a pretty standard clasp on it and everything. But you're looking at $399 here versus, almost around $800 with the Mark & Sons GMT. And with that, both are very nice bracelets. The Mark & Sons is a little better finished, and it's just a higher quality bracelet overall. As a matter of fact, you'll see on screen there just a little side-by-side comparison of those bracelets. But let me go ahead and get back to the Maranez Tao here. As I said, you have inspiration from a few different watches here, and what's nice for the people that think that the current Prospex Seiko Turtle is too large. I've heard that a lot. A lot of people just feel that it's too large of a watch, I guess especially if you have a smaller wrist. This is much smaller, so, and it still has that very same style of case shape and that crown cutout and everything like that. So if you don't mind that it's not a Seiko and that it doesn't look exactly like the Seiko itself, but if you want that case shape, this may be an option for you. So you're looking at a price of $400. You do have a ceramic bezel insert. It is the Seiko NH35. You've seen all the specs on the screen there. You do have an AR-coated sapphire crystal, everything. You got all the good stuff here that you would expect from a dive watch at $399 from a microbrand these days. It's got all the specs on paper. But how does that translate? Of course, that's what some of these, these reviews are about. How does that translate? You could put all these, high grade, you have a ceramic bezel, you have the sapphire crystal, everything like that. How does that translate into the real world? Well, overall, I think this is a nice watch for the price. You have that cushion shape, turtle style case, very nice case. You got the brushing on the top, the polished finish on the sides. The crown is nice and easy to grip, although the crown to me just doesn't match the rest of the watch. I think I would have just preferred a different grip to the crown, something that maybe matched up a little bit more with the bezel I just don't like that choice of crown with this watch overall. The overall aesthetic is off to me with that. A bezel is very nice to use. I love the style of bezel. It stands up off the case. It is easy to grip. Really no back play in this at all whatsoever. The lume on this is fantastic, as you will see. Really comes through that from that dial underneath, and it just looks great. And like I said, I really do like the way that they did the sandwich dial here, and I like the way the outlines are. It just looks very, very good on this watch. You have that orange second hand, just a nice pop of color. And of course, there are other colors. You'll see them in the link below. Go over to Maranez website and check them out. There is a nice, like that ocean teal blue color that I know a lot of people like. But specifically to this one, well, not specific to this one, but all of them. But I think for whatever reason on the black dial, it just stands out more to me, which is, I like a nice clean dial. So obviously this is super clean. It just has the brand name and 300 meters water resistance, nothing else. It's just that the font that they use and the fact that Maranez really never had a logo on their dial, and I've complained about this with Obris Morgan in the past as well, is that it's just a little generic looking, if you will. And some people like that, some people don't. I personally would prefer maybe some kind of logo or just a different font used. It is just a little blah looking to me. So overall, I think this is a nice piece from Maranez. I like that they combined, you know, that the two styles of watches here. And for the most part, I like, you know, I really like the look of the dial markers. I really like the bezel and the bezel insert and the shape of the case. You have drilled lugs. The crown and the bezel action is very nice. And on the wrist, on my 7.5-inch wrist, this feels a little bit small to me personally. And but that's not a bad thing. I know a lot of people are looking for this style of case in a little bit smaller diameter. For me, it's a little on the small side, and it's weird because normally I don't have a problem with watches this size, but every watch is different. Just because one watch is 41 millimeter and one watch is 44 millimeter doesn't always tell the whole story. For me, it feels a little bit small, but it does wear very nice and very, very comfortable on the wrist. I will say that. It is a very, very comfortable watch. But if you want to see more about this, go ahead. You can click the link in the description below. It'll take you over to my written review at watchreport.com. Let me know your thoughts on it here. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you know, you like this, if you love it, if you hate it. You know, as always, be respectful. But let me know what your thoughts are. If they could have went or should have went in a different direction with this piece, or a little too plain for you, a little too small, whatever. Leave it down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Maranez Tao Diver. As always, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription button and then hit that notification bell twice. That way you never miss any of our content. Leave a like. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is at Watch Report. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Maranez Tao Diver. Thanks for watching. Talk to you on the next one.